give them the skills that they need to make their $100 a night playing jazz, right? You know, it's tough. It is tough in this business.
Yeah, it's very tough in the business. But you just brought up a good point. I think we got another call as well. But so your mom is still waiting to figure out what you're going to do when you grow up, huh?
Yeah, well, she used to always tell me, it's not too late to go back to school, or it's not too late to join your dad in his business, but my dad's business went under, so now it's definitely too late for that.
Yeah, you don't want to go into a business that went under and things of that nature. One other quick question, and then I'm going to bring in the other guests. I do want you to stay on the line as well, Jon. But how do you think that we're doing? Because I think if it's the caller I'm expecting, I'm going to have the same question for him. But how do you think we're doing in terms of teaching people on the school level of, like, the grade school level about music and about things of that nature? Because it seems to me that creative thinking is driven by skills that we learn from things like music. And I don't know that the school systems of the nation actually are treating creative sciences as well as they should. And I was just wondering what your thoughts are.
Well, you know, again, I feel blessed because I live here in Durham, North Carolina. And my daughter, you know, has gone through the public school system. She's a senior in high school, and she goes to Durham School of the Arts, and she's been there since 6th grade, and she has a concentration, you know, so that they make the kids have a major. And so hers is in studio art, but her first 3 or 4 years, she was in the band, and she played the saxophone and had a class 5 days a week in saxophone. You know what I mean? And so these kids are graduating. If they were musicians, they're graduating with like their 10,000 hours, you know? So I don't, you know, I can't weigh in on these other schools, but Durham School of the Arts has been amazing. And she's got great discipline. I don't know if it's because of the music, but they do say that the kids who play music actually get better grades too in their other classes.
I can definitely believe that. And you're right, they do have a wonderful school over there, the School of the Arts, and I've had the pleasure of meeting some of the students as well as some of the folks that are professors or teachers over there. Professors is more of a college level, but definitely some of the teachers over there, some that have even worked with me at places like the Arts Council. So I do know that they have some amazing teachers in all of those art disciplines, whether it's photography, whether it's visual arts, whether it's music or theater or some of the other disciplines that are out there in the arts. So they are definitely one of our prize jewel schools. I would definitely agree with that. Dean, drop me another spot, and Jon, please stay on the line. Before we get the spot, Jon, could you let folks have the website where they can find you and your music? Like I said, I would love people to be listening to your music on a regular basis. So if you could drop that, I'd greatly appreciate it. Yeah,
so the name is Jon Shain, JonShain, and the website is jonshain.com.
Appreciate it. Do stay on the line because I might come back to you with some of the other conversation. But Dean, drop that.
Okay,
spot
but
and
Mark.
Then, yep.
Mark, I have to run actually because my wife's been waiting for me for dinner. So I really enjoyed talking with you, and thanks for having me on.
I've thoroughly enjoyed having you on, Jon, and hopefully we can get you back on in the very near future. Real quickly, since you are going to jump off the call, is there any new CD or anything that you want folks to know about that you have just recently put out or that you're expecting to put out, and when should they either look for it or is it already out?
Well, we put one out this last year. It's called Tomorrow Will Be Yesterday Soon. And FJ and I are actually writing songs to start beginning some studio work to do another album later this year.
Well, we'll definitely be looking forward to that record, and I'm continuing to play the one that you just released on WCOM, so I will continue doing that. And, of course, I'll download some MP3s here, or you can send them to me, and we'll add them to our rotation of music that we sometimes play on the podcast as well. So we'll definitely keep you in the loop and definitely hope to have you on again in the near future. We'd love to have FJ on as well because one of the things that we love celebrating is our creatives as well as our entrepreneurs and our activists of all sorts. So definitely hope to have you back on, and would love to have FJ and some of your other cohorts on as well. We've had some of them, like I've mentioned, Bradley's been on, and some other musicians have been on and talked to Al Strong about being on in the near future, but definitely would love to have some of your more immediate cohorts like FJ, as well as some of the others that you've mentioned. Of course, Joe's been on sometime. I think he was on last year or the year before.
Yeah. Well, I do appreciate it. And, Mark, you're a wonderful supporter of everything here that's good in this town. So keep up the good work.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Okay, take care.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. We'll bring Maine in as soon as we come back. Again, y'all.
Appreciate you.
Straight Talk with Dean and Mark.
Are you enjoying the smoothest conversation in podcasting? Straight Talk with Dean and Mark. Hi, this is DJ Smooth Jazz, syndicated radio host and co-owner of Portfolio Group LLC, your smooth jazz lifestyle and entertainment group with offices in Durham, North Carolina. Portfolio Group LLC specializes in promoting the lifestyle of smooth jazz listeners with the promotion of smooth jazz events and the distribution of African American owned wines. For more information, portfoliogroup.llc.com, or you can swing by my secondary site, djsmoothjazz.com. Now back to Straight Talk with Dean and Mark.
All right, we are back. And Maine, you are now on the line. Welcome to Straight Talk with Dean and Mark.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing good. How you doing, man?
Right.
I don't know if you heard some of the past conversation, but I know that you deal with all kinds of social issues. And we had Jon on earlier, who's a longtime friend of mine and a blues artist here in the area. And before that, we had Nicole on, and Nicole is working with a group that deals with adoption. And I know that your poetry touches on a little bit of everything, including adoption and things of that nature. So just wanted to know a little bit about your poetry world, because like I said, that's how I first met you, was through the poetry world, but I know that you are also an activist in your own right, but you are definitely a spoken word artist here in this area, and you're definitely not afraid to tackle difficult issues, everything from abuse to adoptions to race relations to things of that nature. So I can't remember if you have any poems on adoption or not. Do you have any poems on adoption or fostering or anything of that nature?
Well, not particularly adoption, but I used to work at a group home, so I do have a poem about a group home, so which is I guess in the same vein, but not necessarily particularly about adopting the kids. But yeah, I enjoyed spitting bars about uncomfortable topics, because I think that's the first step to action, is to talk about things that make you uncomfortable. Because if we don't talk to people that we don't talk to regularly, or sit down as a group of human beings and talk about ways to resolve our problems, then we'll never get to a resolution. So I think conversation is the first step to action.
No doubt about that. I definitely agree with you on that. But that is definitely the first step. Tell us a little bit about how you got into the whole world of spoken word, and if you want to drop that bar about the group home, or maybe you got another favorite one that you want to share with our listeners. We're always willing and able to hear great poems, and you're definitely one of our top ones in my mind, because I definitely, every time I hear you, I'm like, Maine's at it again.
Well, I've been doing spoken word poetry about 3 years now. It's 3 years this year. I got into it. Basically, I got invited by a friend of mine to go. He was always practicing. He invited me to go see him spit in Charlotte, and I went. And I was amazed, because in my mind, poetry was Edgar Allan Poe or William Shakespeare. It was very boring. It was very academic, until I got to see the street underground version of poetry, and I became enthralled in it. Like, I was excited to have something new to jump into, because I'm a very creative person. I do a lot of stuff creatively, so I felt like I could definitely be a great asset to the culture. and I started writing poetry. I started slamming right away. I didn't do very well slamming at first because I didn't understand, the structure or I just jumped in it not knowing the rules of it per se. I got time penalties and I didn't understand it at first, and I got discouraged. So after I moved to Greensboro from Charlotte, I got reintroduced to it, and the culture in Charlotte, they just brought me in and with open arms and showed me so much love that I was able to. I've been flourishing in it for the last 3 years here in Greensboro.
Yeah, you've definitely been flourishing. Yeah, you've definitely been flourishing in it big time. I'm still trying to figure out, and maybe you can give me your theory as to what it is. Charlotte, which is your original city, is just winning all the time in the spoken word community. What is it about the Charlotte scene that is able to give them such national, and I would even argue international recognition? Because when Desan at the last competition, which was a team competition, was talking about the fact that Charlotte is, usually at the top. I think they've got like 4 or 5, I've lost track, national championships, and then of course they've got different members that have won their category. They've had women that have won their category. But what is it about Charlotte per se that helps them have a thriving poetry scene?
Well, just like any team, chemistry and coaching wins games per se. And, slam poetry is no different. They have a great coach, and they always have great chemistry on their team. Not to take anything away from anybody else, but the members on their team, they do more than just poetry together. They actually are around each other very often doing just regular life stuff. So they're more than just a poetry team. They're more of a family. And when you have that family dynamic, it's people can feel that through because you're talking about life experiences, and when it becomes very personable, you can hear the realness in what they spitting. Now, I'm talking about North Carolina as a whole breeds nothing but monsters, because I've toured all over the country, and it's just something in the water, something different about North Carolina. Everything in North Carolina, there's too many. This is a concentration of raw talent, because like I said, I've been to other places, and they don't do it kind of the same way we do it. There's other places that have a large pool of talent, like Baltimore, Texas. There's some other places I've been to that have a large pool, but for the most part, state by state, North Carolina is by far one of the craziest creative culture concentrated states in the United States. And it's crazy because I'm so used to being around great people that when you go somewhere else, it's like it's like it's different. It's just different, man.
Yeah, it's very, very much different and things of that nature. I do want to have you spit one of your poems or two, so I'm going to bring that up. But in terms of the artists, are there any particular artists that you really find to be your inspiration? And they might be old artists or artists that have passed on, but artists either that are currently out there or artists that might be historical artists that are the people that you use as your personal source of inspiration.
Yeah, like I said before, when it comes to poetry, I'm a Saul Williams guy. I like Saul Williams. I like James Baldwin. Locally, my friend who introduced me, his name was Maids Forever. I've lost contact with him, but he's a dope poet. And just, I got mentors as far as like, local guys like Desan is one of my great mentors. I always look to him for advice, and we're going to be doing some work here this year together. He's going to be coaching me a lot. But art-wise, just art in general, I'm an Ernie Barnes fine artist. He's my favorite artist, visual artist. I'm all the way in 2 feet here in North Carolina. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, North Carolina has had some tremendous art and some tremendous art teachers out there. I actually work with Ernie Barnes' daughter, because when I'm not working at HI, I work for Measurement Incorporated, and one of his daughters, Deidre Barnes, is actually one of the executives at that office. I think she might be a vice president, so I have to put you in touch with her so that you can learn a little bit more about Ernie the person, because I know both her and Paige Barnes, who is actually out in L.A., but that's another daughter of his, and I think she works with Parks and Rec, if I remember correctly. So we've got a couple of ties directly to Ernie, so I have to put you in touch with his legacy, because even though Ernie has passed on, his legacy is still